thing, bro. Here's the microphone right here. I I've been wanting to stream for all about 1 hour, so I set everything up with no real goal in mind other than to talk about some of the experiences that I've gone through. And I think I was watching this video, and it was like this dude who was talking about, you know, his experience in America. He's like this 80-year-old dude. He's talking crazy. He's talking about how talking is a skill. I didn't really ever think of speaking as a skill. Like, that was just something that I did not particularly think of as a skill set, because it was something that we all do on a day-to-day basis. Like we all just talk. So for me to think about speaking as a skill was something that I didn't ever really consider. And he's talking about how, you know, how we all have different gifts and different talents. And I'm like, dude, this dude's a good speaker. And he's talking about how in America they used to lynch black people for knowing how to read. And that made me think about the history of what this place is. And I was like, that's insane, right? And he's talking about how, he he reads, and he's talking about the bookshelf in the bag and on all the books he's read. And this past year has been what I truly believe to be life changing. And I say it's life changing because I've continued to develop myself in ways that I never thought possible. I had always imagined that it was possible, but there was always a block between the person that I wanted to be and the person that I was. And I know I've talked about that in the past before, but this year was finally like going through that hurdle, getting over it. And that's something that I am very grateful for, because I never imagined that I would get through, especially when you're in the thick of it. When you're in the thick of that fear and insecurity and doubt, you're just thinking, there's no way I can overcome this. But you keep digging, you keep looking inside, and you're just like, you know what, there is a chance. So I started running, okay? I started taking care of my health. Once I started doing that, everything kind of started clicking for me. I started to get focused. I started to read again, right? I had spent so many years just not reading. And obviously day to day you read a social media post, you read a blog, you read a news article, you read a nutrition label, just anything and everything, right? You just read. And I was like feeling like I didn't have enough focus to get through a book. And you might think that's insignificant, but there are people out there in the world right now who want to read and they can't. They know how, but they can't. And that video, the YouTube channel is called LeBrown, Les Brown. I'm assuming that's the French, the. It's still live, right? Okay, cool. And he was talking about, or what did I lost my train of thought. Um, you want to read, you want to create something, you want to share your work. I think we're in this weird place with the internet, just as a whole, right? It's new, okay? When you think about it, I like to think of the internet as my age, okay? As a 20 something year old child, a mature young man, okay? Young woman. That's how young the internet is. And becoming a father has shown me that there's phases in life of maturation, of experiencing and knowledge and not growing up with the father and then becoming a father. That also shapes the experience. It shapes the perspective. And so the internet is like this young thing, right? In the grand scheme of things, if we were to say, let's say we live to 100 years old, 20%, right? Like, how many times do you leave the house with your phone at 20% battery? Once you're at 20% battery, you know, your phone becomes, the little battery turns yellow. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it still hasn't reached that threshold where it has enough maturation to understand the lessons of life, the experiences of life. So a lot of people want to create, they want to share, they want to read, they want their focus back. And social media has become an abstraction, right? Social media is a person. It could either be your friend that you know or somebody that you don't know, but it is a person, okay? At the other end of the network, at the other end of the web, on the other side of the application, there's a person, right? And that abstraction has created these layers that block individuals from being or becoming, acting, taking action. Because on the day to day, right, there are a certain set of responsibilities that we have to attain to. We have to go to work, we have to clean this, we have to go pick up the kids from school. You know, there's things that got to be done throughout the day. Once you're done with work, you go home, you see things on social media, you unwind. I think as humans, we are so connected to one another. We have so much sympathy for one another and empathy for one another that we viscerally live through people. And so you'll see people doing the gym, you'll see people playing the guitar, you'll see people doing a painting, you know, you'll see people doing things that you already do, right? Things that you feel passionate about, things that maybe you haven't picked up in a while. You know, maybe you haven't been playing video games, but you'll watch a streamer. Maybe, you know, you enjoy painting, and so you're checking out your favorite artists and what they're doing and what they're creating, and you know, you see it all online, you see them doing their thing, like, you see it, right? And so it's like, all right, all of a sudden you're doing the watching, and you're no longer participating in your own life. All of a sudden you're too busy like seeing other people do things that you know you're capable of doing, but because you're watching other people do it, you're listening to other people do it, you're living in, you know, as a spectator of your own life. Because of because of the way that these algorithms have now evolved, right? I recently read this book called The Universal History of Computers. And I never imagined myself to read a book like that because I did not like math. Okay, I was very bad at math. But something about reading a book about math, the way everything was summarized and condensed into, it made understanding certain concepts a lot easier. It brought understanding as opposed to like just learning the skill, right? Like learning how to solve for X. It was like a deeper understanding of why we solve for X in the first place, which when I think back to school, that was the primary reason why I didn't like math. It was always, why are we doing this? Why is it relevant? Fast forward to, 10 plus years, and I'm reading this book and it's talking about algorithms. And I returned it to the library because I got a library card and I've been checking out books because I've been reading. Okay. And that book I was kind of reading sporadically. I didn't always take notes. And that's something that I've had to learn to get into the habit of, right? So it's like once I'm reading a book, I kind of get so caught up in the book that I don't take the time to summarize things that are going down to really kind of retain the subject matter, the the the, the lesson that it's imparting. So I was like, all right, cool. Like let me just read through this. Let me start skimming through it, because the first part of the book was just talking about like it would kind of talk about and give examples of numbers and where numbers come from and the different symbols that represented numbers throughout ancient civilizations. And I kind of skimmed over that part, and I ended up finding this page about algorithms. And mind you, this book is about computers, so completely relevant to where we are now with computers. This is a computer. The cell phone that you used to use at a payphone when you picked up a pager and you had to go and put a quarter in, this is now a computer. You now have a computer in your pocket. It's not just a cell phone. We call them phones, but they're a computer. This thing is that thing, okay? This is that, all right? And I was like, algorithms. Oh, everybody talks about algorithms. Now, mind you, I exist in a space where I've shared my ideas. I've shared my art, my content. I've shared my opinions. I've published things. I've put things out onto the internet. I wasn't just a consumer, but I was actively creating. And I saw the progression from the chronological timeline to the algorithm. So we went from a timeline to an algorithm. Basically, okay? Now, I might be chopping this up a lot, okay? I would have to find the book again and take a page out of it and to understand what an algorithm is and give you specific details, because it was cool because it kind of talked about who created, what kind of the mathematicians that contributed to these different concepts and stuff. So I was like, all right, cool. But basically, an algorithm is a series of steps to arrive at a conclusion. Okay? So when you think about an algorithm, the algorithm that you have on your phone when you're scrolling on social media, it is actively selecting things that you as an individual are willing to participate in, or more likely to participate in. But fundamentally, what it is, the algorithm, it's in service to you. Okay? And so I'm going to dive deeper into that. But there are so many people who want to share, who want to create, who want to learn, but there is a blockage that prevents them from doing the thing that they want to do. So, how do you do the thing that you want to do? How do you share your voice and your opinion without the fear of being judged or criticized? I think deep down, it comes down to something very simple, but just because it's simple, it does not mean that it's easy. It's overcoming the fear. And with all this reading that I've been doing lately, with all the running that I've been doing lately, I've found a deeper courage in myself to learn new things. So besides just reading, it's been about learning different skill sets for myself, for what I am passionate about, the things that I enjoy doing, right? Learning is, I think, one of the best ways to overcome that fear, because the learning kind of gives you the confidence to be courageous, and it gives you the sort of like the mental pillars that allow you to push through that fear and that insecurity. But when you stop doing all that, and when you're seeing other people living their lives, you're reading that, you're consuming that. So the way I like to think about it sometimes is, I'm either going to watch somebody else do it, or I'm going to do it. Because if I'm going to watch somebody else do it, I'm not doing it. So I could watch a tutorial. Now imagine watching that same tutorial over and over and over and over. Now, it doesn't have to be just a tutorial. It could be a mindset. It could be a blueprint. It could be an architecture. It could be a system of thinking that prevents you from being, right? This person is doing something crazy. They're skydiving, jumping off of a plane. This person is traveling across the world. This person is running a marathon. This person is playing video games. This person, everything that you know that you are capable of doing, that you've been wanting to do, you have offloaded it, right? It's like these ideas exist in your brain so that you could do them, so that you could act on them. But then, if you're too busy watching other... Bro, I got the title wrong. I'm telling you, I haven't streamed in like so long. I forgot to update the title. So, someone's thinking that I'm going to play video games, and I am not going to play video games today. I should update that, low key. I'll update it after I finish. It's too late now. I lost my train of thought. So, yeah, someone's thinking I'm playing video games. Why? Because at one point, this whole streaming thing was because I wanted to stream video games. I was like, you know what? Let me stream video games. And then all of a sudden, it's like I have that skill set of this is now I know how to do the streaming, right? But it's not about the streaming. It's about what are you talking about? What do you stand for? What do you believe in? What's your experience? What's your perspective, right? LeBron brought up a good point about AI. It's like AI isn't alive, right? It hasn't touched the sunlight. It's still a computer. It can't experience things the way that you can. And that's kind of how I use AI. Like, it's a tool, bro. Like, people are so against it for whatever reason, right? It's like the new technology. And it's a tool, right? So the skill set to set everything up is one thing. Why do you want to set it up though? Why do you want to speak up? Well, asking that question, I want to bring it back to why I did start this conversation. Because there's people who want to do things, and sometimes they don't have the skill sets. And I didn't realize that I had the skill set to sit in front of a camera and yap away for 20 minutes, for an hour straight with I could approach this with nothing, right? With a blank page and then just talk. And I've done this kind of talking to the phone, to the camera for a long time. Even before YouTube, even before it became a thing, right? I think the internet took a while to really get a whole bunch of people in it. As it continued to mature, more people started to realize that they were, excuse me, I had breakfast. Might have to do these conversations beforehand. It takes a while, right, to get everybody to adapt to something. It becomes a new normal. Once it becomes normal, it's like, all right, you know what? Yeah, bro, I got a computer on my phone. I could edit a video and post it on YouTube and talk about something. But it's also sensationalized now because it's so popular. Once you're in that space, like, the algorithm for me is people who want to do something, but they are not capable of doing it. Like, they're capable of doing it, but there's something that's blocking them from being. And there's something stopping them from pushing forward and making it happen, right? There's a stop, there's a block. They're creative, but they think they have to be creative in the way that the internet dictates because we spend so much time on it. We spend so much time on the internet watching other people live, watching other people create, that we forget that we could create in our own unique way. And it doesn't have to look like everybody else's. But we're at a point now where there's people who are telling, these young creators, yo, you got to do it like this. You got to create content like this. And it's become sensationalized. Like, there's so much of it now. It doesn't stop, right? You have to do it this way. You got to do it that way. And I think for a minute I was learning from that. I was learning about how people interact on these platforms. I was learning about how I interact on these platforms. And there was a period where I uninstalled everything. because it really is not that serious. It really isn't. And I made it that serious, right? To the point where it was like, I got to uninstall this, right? It got that serious. And when I look at the platforms now, I'm like, it's not that serious. It really isn't. It's just a place to post a message, right? But when you subject yourself to the messages of other people, if you don't have the wherewithal to pull away, you could become enslaved by it. Like, it becomes that serious where all of a sudden you're viscerally living through other people. You're putting things off because you'd rather watch something on your phone instead of touch grass, basically. You'd rather watch Netflix than practice the guitar. I say that as I look at my guitar. I say that because that's who I was. I've been pretty active on Threads. I had never really experimented with Threads before, but I went back to when I first kind of started taking pictures, and I was looking back at some old pictures from like middle school and what Instagram used to look like, what Twitter used to look like, what these platforms used to look like, the things that I wrote down back then, the things that I would speak about back then. I had no filter. I wasn't politically correct. I was actually very politically incorrect. And that's who I am. Like, I didn't quite realize that because I was so caught up with what everybody is doing, what every celebrity is doing, what every influencer is doing, what you're, it's like there was a like a buffer before where, you watch a movie and you're able to, am I still connected? Okay. Where you're able to like disconnect from like the TV, right? So like you watch TV, you watch cartoons, but you don't know who's making that. Like, like I'm thinking about like Cartoon Network, like Teen Titans or something, and like I don't know who did the voices. Like, I don't, because when I watched that show, I didn't really care to read the credits. I didn't. And now we're at a point where it's so easy to connect to the people that we like admire or respect or want to learn from. And I don't like that I said admired. Respect is more in line with what I was thinking. But anyway, like, there is no real filter now, right? Like, now we have bedroom access, and the buffer is the mind, right? It is, you go to the movies, you could see what the director or what the lead actor is doing on their stories, right? So the only buffer now, it's not, hey, this person made a movie way out there in, Hollywood. Now it's like I could have them on my phone and see what they're doing. Back then, it's like, all right, movie's over. I gotta wait 3 months before it comes out, and I could buy it. I like the movie. I'm gonna go live my life because I don't know what this person is doing. But now, everybody is that. Like, everybody wants to be that. Everybody is the actor. Everybody is playing the lead role in their life. Which is right. Like, in so many, like, we don't have one life. I had some like vegetable stir fry with some eggs. Yeah, it's your mom. So the buffer now isn't the fact that somebody lives very far away, and you would have to maybe write them a letter to see if maybe they replied. Now the buffer is the individual themselves. It's like, how much restriction is the person going to put between themselves and the platforms where they connect with their audience? So when you want to do something and you're seeing everybody else do the thing and then share their experience, you're not experiencing it. You're just watching other people experience their living, their life. So I see a lot of people talking about, how do I do this? How do I create content? Man, I got so many. Look, let me tell y'all something. This right here is content. This right here, content. Got another little. Right here, content. I got like, I got a lot of them. Content everywhere, bro. Look, all them, content. Content. You want to create content, bro? What you talking about? You're not talking about content. You're talking about sharing a part of yourself, posting yourself. You're talking about, you're afraid of being seen and judged and criticized because you see when your favorite celebrity or when your favorite influencer posts something, you hop on them comments and you start seeing what everybody starts saying. Some people support, some people don't. That's what you're afraid of. That's what you're afraid of. You want to be creative. You want to film a YouTube video and post a YouTube video, and you're asking people for help because you want that external validation. You want someone to say that you can do it. You want someone to almost do it for you. But really, you don't post because you're out of ideas. You don't post because you're afraid of what they might say if you don't go viral, or you want to go viral, but you don't want to go viral and then have a bunch of haters. Like, and that's what it boils down to. Like, you want to achieve success, but you don't want what success brings. And I've been thinking about that because I've been active on Threads, right? I started writing a lot, and then I started a newsletter. I was like, man, I write so much and I yap so much, but I don't always want to be yapping away. Sometimes I just want to write. And that's what I've been doing a lot. I've been writing a lot. I've been doing that for years. It's been my greatest form of expression. And it was something that I didn't really quite value. And then with the advent of the popularization of social media, I did grow insecure because I had the sort of expectation that I wanted to share something and I wanted it to go viral and I wanted to be popular. And that itself, the wanting to get popular, the wanting to get, famous and viral, that was the block. Because I didn't stop writing, but I did stop sharing. And I think there's a time and place for everything. Like, I'm at a point now where, look, I'm going to continue to share my thing because I've learned that I don't really need social media to be successful. Like, it's not necessary. And people on social media are going to have you believe that it's necessary, but it isn't. Like it really is not. You think the oil industry gives a fuck about their social media branding? No, they don't. Um, the social, like, I mean, the oil industry kind of like it fuels the internet, right? All these chips and things, but like, go to any kind of oil company on their social media, they're gonna have like something, but it's it's not it's not necessary. And I think that's something to understand, right? What social media is, it's a tool to reach people, and it's about reaching people. It's about connecting with people, talking with people. And very often, because of the sensationalized nature of social media, where you see somebody go viral, oh, this video went viral, let me share it so that people could look at the viral video on my page, and then my page gets views and traffic, and let me stitch things together so that I could share my opinion on somebody else's opinion, and we can, great, right? That's what it is. But that sensationalization, it creates a barrier to entry where the expectation is to become viral, is to become popular, is to become seen, as opposed to, I have something to say and I'm going to say it to you. Whoever you are, right? I'm going to let the algorithm make that decision. And even if the algorithm doesn't push the 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 ideas that I'm communicating, I'm still communicating something. I could still send you a link. I could still just post it on my story for the, for my classmates, my colleagues, my friends, my family, and whoever wants to click it, cool. It was for them anyway. Like, if you don't want to see something, I'm putting myself in the shoes of my audience, right? There's so many people that I know who are promoting stuff, right? Sign up to this link, sign up to that link. Not everybody, like, I don't always click the link. And it's the same thing for my audience. Like, not everybody's going to want to read. Not everybody's in the mood at the time. Like, I could write something out and it could be a really good piece of writing that I'm proud of. But if you're not in the mood to read something, you just ain't gonna read it. If you're not in the mood to watch something, you're not gonna watch it. If you don't want to listen to something, you're not gonna listen. And if you want to post something, post it just because you're ready, right? Because you worked on it and you want to share it. And don't post it because you're trying to go viral. Don't post because you want to be famous. Post because you're proud of the work that you did. You worked hard on it. And you want to share it. And the people who see it, like it, support it, it's for them. Not every piece of work is going to be for everybody. Like, I mean, just look at Shakespeare, okay? Look at any celebrity. Look at any music artist. They have a catalog of work, and some people only like some pieces, and some people like others, and some people dislike others. Like, it's really that simple. So you want to do things. Get out of your head with the expectations. Like, just do it. Just do it because you're passionate about it. I watched that LeBron video, and he talked about speaking. And for the last few months, it feels like I've found my voice. I've been willing to share my ideas. I've been willing to share my experiences, my lessons, my trials, my tribulations, everything. Because that's life. I'm looking at the sunshine right now, the clouds. I heard the birds sing. And as I was watching that video, he talks about speaking is a skill. I've been yapping for 41 minutes straight. It's a skill. And I didn't really understand that for a long time. I didn't think it was worth anything. I thought it was easy to speak and talk and stream a video and put myself out there. But it's a skill. And I realized that today. And every time I realize something, it gives me a sense of confidence, gives me a sense of courage to continue forward. Because I've done these videos, and I think, like I said, for a long time, it was really just like I had that expectation of maybe this piece goes viral. Maybe this is the one that's going to skyrocket and get 1 million views, and then everybody's going to know who I am. But it's not even about that no more. Like, if it does happen, cool, like, I do this regardless of the views. I do this even before I post. Like, I'll record shit and it won't make it onto the platform, but I'll sit down for an hour straight and I'll fucking talk to the camera. Like, that's what I do. That's who I am. Like, it doesn't fucking matter if it gets published or not. That's just who I am. Like, it gets done regardless. And that's how you need to approach your work. If you do it, who gives a fuck if you publish it or not? And if you do publish it, great. It's not about going viral. It's about sharing who you are and what you do and what you built. I mean, listen, if you think about your favorite friend, your best cousin, your whatever, like, they might be across the world. Sometimes you don't want to pick up the phone and call them or send the direct link, but if you post it on social media, they'll go see it. Will they like it? Who knows? Maybe they're busy, maybe they won't, but they'll see it. So you got to think about the person that is always supporting you. And if you don't have that person, then one of the things that really helps me sometimes is I get to look back on the body of work that I've created, and I'm like, wow, I'm really glad that I did that. That was a really good memory. And I want to continue to support myself and show up for myself. Even when I don't want to post something, cool, I don't post it. But what I do post, I'm glad that I did. And I have that catalog where I could look back and see and just for myself, right? But this whole tripping about being viral, and focus on the skill. Focus on the craft. So shout out to LeBron. I'm gonna link him down in the description, okay? Because speaking is a skill. And I think you reminded me of that today, where I was right time, I guess. I was feeling a little anxious. That's what it was this morning. Just overwhelmed with all the content that I have. Like, I have so much content. And I kind of just got a little anxious, and I clicked on his video, and I really wasn't expecting that video to go the way that it did, but um, it just kind of gave me that reminder that it's okay to share your ideas and who you are as a person. And I think it inspired me to make this, to just share, right? Because I've been writing this newsletter, and I've been posting more and sharing more, and it reminds me of the reason why I started, just who I am. Like, I've always been creative and very expressive, but sometimes the pain, the insecurity, the fear, the anxiety, it blocks you from seeing the impact that you have on other people's lives. So, much love. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I know it was a little crazy. I tried to do something a little different. That's the little track that you hear in the back, dude. Hopefully, I am in focus. Do I have autofocus on? Shit, too late. I'm not focusing right now, bro. This is my shit manual right now. Hold on. I don't know. Um. Okay. Much love, y'all. Wherever you are in the world, keep going. Catch y'all next time.